Okay, so now we're on to our uplifting bassline, which is very fun to make actually. And you can see here that I've used individual channels for each layer. Not each layer, but each main category of layers. So we'll be looking into that, but for now I'm just going to play you the sound, and then we'll look into recreating it. So before you create it, I'm just going to pull it apart. I've got one set of layers here, which plays the main sound. We've got a lower layer here, which plays on the offbeat. I have a high layer here, and an acid sound from Massive. So what I'm going to do is delete all of these. I'm just going to copy over this main MIDI clip. That's all we need for now. I'm going to leave that kick in there, take out that, and I only use Spire and Massive for this. If you don't have Spire and Massive, then you can probably use other plugins to fill in the gaps, but that's what I used. That's what I'll be using. Copy that MIDI clip in. If you want to have a look at that, it's basically just your standard uplifting bass line with a cool little pattern, pretty straightforward. So the first thing I want to do is create the main bass line, the main uplifting groove. So what I'm going to do is pull in Spire for our first sound, and I'm going to choose the Sunny Lax pack again, and go out to bass rolling 2, which sounds like this. It's pretty full on, but I want to get rid of this delay. I think that sounds good. Not many changes to be made. In fact, I'll leave it as is. And I want to group this. Not delete. Group. And duplicate it, because we're going to pick a new sound. And this time I'm going to pick a pluck sound, not actually a bass sound, but we're going to be using the pluck sound as a bass. So pluck games. Get rid of the delay. A little bit of reverb. And one thing I do want to do is drop that down an octave. So I'm going to use that MIDI effect again. Pull it down 12 semitones. And it sounds like this. Pretty cool indeed. So that is our group 1. We're going to rename this to main. And now what we're going to do, we'll just play this in relation to the kick to see how it sounds. Cool. Now we're going to make the offbeat group. So typically in an uplifting trance, you're going to have that offbeat bass that plays the low end. So what I want to use for that is Spire again. And I don't want a sub straight away, I want sort of a pad sound, so I'm going to use the Spire Big Room Essentials Volume 1 pack and choose Save My Bass, which is quite a nice sound. So if we mute that uplifting, just make a simple offbeat, let's see what key it's in, A, simple offbeat, want to turn those effects off because it will just muddy up the low end. I think that's pretty sweet, sounds good. I'm going to group this again. and duplicate. And I'm just going to EQ it quickly because I know that a sub's going to be laid underneath. So I'm going to get rid of that straight away and pull down the high end a bit. Oh. There we go. And for the sub bass here, what I want to do is pick something pretty simple. I'm going to use a Temple 1 Spire Essentials pack and choose that sub. Very simple sub bass. Just going to pull the volume down a bit. So now we've got that, which is quite nice. A little bit muddy, but we'll fix that up. So we'll call this sub / off beat. Just color that. I like coloring my basses orange. Don't ask why. It's just something I do. So now what we'll do is insert another bass. We're getting there. So Spire again. But this time I'm going to use a different pattern. So I'm going to copy this over. I'm only going to use the top line so that it sounds like this. Just to accent that higher note. So I'm going to pick a preset. Actually going to use the Sunny Lax pack again this time. And I'm going to choose bass. Choose bass cosmic. Pretty straightforward. Just turn that reverb off so it cleans things up. It's kind of like an acid sound, but very subtle. And finally, I'll rename this to accent. Finally, I want to have some sort of acid sound just to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to choose Massive, which has a nice preset called Acid Raw, which I'm going to choose. Where are we? Search acid. Raw. There we go, pick that. I'm going to put in a simple pattern here. So it sounds kind of lame at the moment, so I'm going to make a few changes to this. Rename that to acid. And there we have it. That's the 4 main layers. But we do want to process this because it sounds quite messy at the moment. So bass group 1, basically want to take the low end out of both basses. So we'll solo this for the moment. I'm also going to take out some of the high end of this, or the mid-high. And come in here and do something similar. And we'll add a bit of multi-band compression here. Again, I'm just going to use that preset we used last time, which I quite like. Honestly, I have nothing against using presets, still have to adjust them. Sounds good to me. On the offbeat here, I took out the, we'll rename this to offbeat and sub, so we don't get confused. I've already taken out the the low end to make room for the bass. I don't think there's much else we need to do here. In fact, it sounds pretty good to me. So now we've got this. On this third bass here, the accent, I do want to take out a lot of the low end, just because we don't need it. And a bit of compression on it to change the characteristic. And finally, I'm going to copy this EQ here and place it on the acid sound. And we could have a bit of delay maybe on that, but for now I'm going to leave it. Just keep it simple. So that's a very basic uplifting pattern. We've used about 6 different layers. You don't need to use that many, but I thought it would be good for educational purposes. So have a play around with that. Maybe try different patterns, different offbeat sounds. Maybe you have a pluck kind of moog sounding offbeat. Just have a play around, experiment, and I'll see you in the next video where I give you 5 tips that you can go away with and apply to your bass layering.